So this weekend, what everyone seems to be talking about is that tax bill that passed just before 2 a.m. on Saturday. Senate Republicans passed a sweeping bill, the likes of which we haven't really seen in more than 30 years. GOP leaders needed a simple majority, and that bill passed 51-49 with one Republican voting no. Welcome back. This morning, I'm joined by Oregon Senator Ron Wyden. And Senator, there were 0 Democrats in the Senate that supported this bill.
First of all, this is just a horrible bill for the people of Oregon. We have high state and local taxes. This bill essentially unravels the federal deduction for those taxes. And the fact is, Oregon also has a corresponding arrangement with the federal government. So Oregonians really get hit with a double whammy. And it's important for folks to remember that those taxes go for police and fire and essential services. So it's a bad bill for Oregon. It's a poor fit. It's almost like wearing a tuxedo to the beach.
Okay, and GOP leaders, I mean, they say, yes, this cuts corporate taxes, but that also means more jobs, higher wages, that it would not cut into our deficit, and that it would be good for the average American.
That's not what the evidence shows. And in fact, these multinational corporations are already awash in money. And the evidence shows that they're going to use this very substantial reduction for stock buybacks, for dividends. What this bill is all about is creating a double standard in terms of the American economy. We saw this morning reports about additional tax breaks for major oil companies. And then we saw that if an employer gives a gift card to a worker. We're talking about an Oregon employer giving a $25 or a $50 gift card to a worker, that would be taxed. What we're talking about is something that really betrays the middle class, and this was supposed to be the year of the working person, and what it is the year of the powerful and the special interests.
So what do you think would need to change in this bill in order to garner your support as well as other Democrats' support?
What I'm going to be doing is pushing back on the things that really hurt the middle class. For example, I'm very concerned about students and seniors. Students, for example, a lot of them from working class families, they really struggled, but somehow they were able to get the money together to pay for education. The House bill takes away the deduction for interest that you pay on debt. So I'm going to be pushing hard to protect our students. Also, for the older people, the folks that are pre-Medicare, between 55 and 65, the House unravels the medical deduction as well. So as the ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, I'll be pushing back in every way on those kinds of things that ought to be changed to give the middle class a fairer shake.
Okay, and you mentioned the House bill. So what's coming next is that the House and the Senate have to come to an agreement on the bill. Then that bill heads to the president's desk for his signature. GOP leaders have said they want to do that by Christmas. As a Democrat in a Republican-controlled Congress, how much difference are you hoping to make? What is the plan moving forward for Democrats as a whole?
Well, as I indicated, we're going to push back especially on those key things that are so important to students and seniors and middle-class folks. I mean, another example is the tax breaks, so-called, for the middle class are temporary. The breaks for the people at the top are permanent. So I hope that there'll be an actual conference where the House and the Senate get together. As the ranking Democrat on the Finance Committee, that would give me a significant number of additional opportunities to make the case about how unfair this is, what a betrayal it is to the middle class. The middle class drives 70% of our economy. These are the folks who buy cars and pay for housing and send kids to child care. It's just a mistake to give the middle class the short end of the stick the way this bill does.
And I also wanted to touch a little bit on net neutrality. Of course, that's the 2015 rule that bars big telecom companies, AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, from charging companies and people more to deliver content at a higher rate of speed. I know you've been pretty outspoken about this issue previously, but in 2 weeks' time or so, there should be a big vote where the FCC will decide whether or not to axe net neutrality. So a lot of people talking about it right now.
They sure are, and it's so important for Oregon because our state has long been committed to a free and open internet. I introduced the first net neutrality bill, so viewers know what we're talking about. Net neutrality essentially means after you pay your internet access fee, You get to go where you want, when you want, and how you want. And everybody gets a fair shake. Everybody is treated equally. Now, what the powerful cable companies and communication interests want to do is upend that. They would essentially like what's called paid prioritization, and they'd like to give special breaks to folks at the top, extra breaks for content, access. And some of their arguments have been ridiculous. In the past, they've said, well, maybe we could have voluntary net neutrality because they know net neutrality is popular. Well, I can tell you, voluntary net neutrality is about as likely as getting my son, William Wyden, 10 years old, to voluntarily limit the number of desserts he eats. These are ridiculous kinds of concepts, and at my website, Oregonians will be able to see how they can push back for real net neutrality and an equal shake for everybody.
And tonight you've got a town hall from what I hear, right? Give me some details on that.
Well, what we do is believe deeply that you ought to just throw open the doors of government. With people as frustrated as they are about government, what we want to do is make sure that their voices are heard. This will be my 80th town hall meeting of the year. There's going to be some folks from the Town Hall Project who are going to come apparently and say some nice things about me. I want to say some nice things about the people of Oregon because we believe deeply in grassroots participation in government. Folks being heard, they'll have another chance to do it at Cleveland today.
Okay, so that's where your town hall will be?
Is.
Cleveland High School.
Right.
Okay, perfect. What time?
It starts at 1.
Okay, great. Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Senator, for joining us this morning.
Let's do it again.
Okay, thank you.
You.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.